Hello and welcome back to another weekly recap video. This week we're going to be going over expanding quadratics and factorizing quadratics. These are two topics that always come up and we need to make sure that we've got a good idea on how to approach them. Okay, before we get into them, we're just going to ask ourselves, what do we want to get at the end of the year, which is rapidly approaching, which is to maybe improve our grade, get the next grade up that we got last time, and to maybe learn something new and just push yourself a little bit harder than you have before. And how are you going to get there? Obviously revising, but the key thing is to be working hard. Hard work, determination from you is going to pay off. Okay, let's begin. So when I'm expanding a quadratic, what that means is when I've got a bracket and another bracket directly after with nothing in the middle. That's a quadratic expansion that I need to do. How I do it is I use the grid method, similar to how I would if I was just multiplying two numbers together. I will just use the grid method. So how I use that for expanding is I just put this top bracket here, the left-hand bracket, in the top here. So I put x there and plus 10 there. And here I'm going to put this bracket, x and plus 9. And now I'm just going to multiply each of these in sequence to get my expansion. So x times x is x squared. X times 10 is plus 10x. X times 9 is plus 9x, and 9 times 10 is plus 90. Okay, so now I've got my all my values expanded. I need to write them down again and then simplify them. So I've got x squared plus 10x plus 9x plus 90. And what we can see is, actually, we can simplify this even further because we've got 9x and 10x in the middle there. So I can further simplify this to x squared plus 19x plus 90. And that would be my final answer. Okay, for the next one, it's a little bit different. It's still got a plus 4. We've got the squared there. What that means is, basically, it means we've got the same brackets twice. Okay, so if you have a squared there, power of 2 there, means you have the same bracket twice. So now we just solve it the same way, or expand it the same way we did before. X plus 4 and x and plus 4. X times x is x squared. X times 4 is plus 4x. X times positive 4 is plus 4x. And 4 times 4 is positive 16. Okay, so now we've got x squared, so we're going to start here, 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 here. X squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 16. And we're going to simplify that down to x squared plus 2 4x's added together, ax plus 16, which is our final answer. Okay, moving on. We've got x minus 7 and x plus 6. So in our brackets, we're going to put x here, minus 7. Doesn't matter which way around you put them, but I usually put the left-hand one at the top. So x times x gives me x squared. X times minus 7 is minus 7x. X times 6 is positive 6x. And minus 7 multiplied by minus 6, a minus times a positive gives us a minus 42. Okay, so let's write this out again. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got x squared minus 7x plus 6x minus 42. Right, now we're just going to simplify this. So we simplify the middle parts. There's all of this we're trying to simplify. So x squared minus 7 plus 6. So minus 7, if we add 6 to it, we go minus 7, minus 6, minus 5, minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1. So minus 1x, which I'm just going to write as minus x, and then minus 42. Okay, if you put a 1 there, Just need to be careful. Again, we've got minus 2, x here, minus 2, x here, and minus 4 there. X times x, x squared. X times minus 2 is minus 2x. X times minus 4, minus 4x. And minus 4 times minus 2. Remember, two negatives, when multiplied together, give us a positive. So it's going to be positive 8. So our answer we have is x squared minus 2x minus 4x plus 8. Okay, just going to tidy this middle part up again. Oops. Bit messy there. It's okay. X squared minus 2, take away 4. So when we're taking away, so we're starting at minus 2 and we're taking 4 off. We're going 4. We've got minus £2 in the bank and we're spending £4. So we're going to get more into our overdraft, more into debt. So minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6. Minus 6x plus 8. Okay, so when we take away from a negative, this isn't a double negative. We're taking away from a negative, so it's just going to become more negative. Don't get confused and make that into a plus. It's only when they are next to each other. So if it was, for example, minus 2x minus minus 4x, then that would become a plus. Okay, but only when they're next to each other. So be careful of that. Okay, so that's expanding. Next, we're going to look at factorizing. So factorizing is the opposite of expanding. Basically, what we're doing then is trying to put back into brackets. So when we're factorizing a quadratic, first thing we need to make is x squared. So to do that, we put an x here and an x here. So the trick to this now is we need to find two numbers that multiply together to make 15 and that add together to make 8. So my first step here, I'm going to write down all the numbers I can think of that multiply together to make 15. So 1 times 15. 3 times 5. Can you think of any others? I'll stick with these. And so I'll look at these two and say, right, if I add this to this, it's going to give me 16. I need 8. If I add this to this, oh yeah, that gives me 8. So now I'm going to take these two numbers, plus 3 and plus 5, put them into our bracket as the second value, and that is now factorized. Okay, moving on to the next one. We've got a positive and a negative here, so we need two numbers that multiply together to make negative 18, which adds together to make positive 3. Okay, so again, we're going to start with x and x. So I need to think of all the numbers, forgetting the minus for a second, that multiply together to make 18. So I've got 1 and 18, 2, 9, 3, and 6. What else could I have? Can you think of any others? I'm happy with these. So now if I try this, so 1 and 18, well, they've not got a difference of 3. So forget that. 2 and 9, so minus 2, add 9, no. Minus 9, add 2, no. So it's going to be 3 and 6. Okay, so we know they've got a difference of 3. So put 3 and 6 there. Okay, we need one of them to be a negative, because when they multiply together, they have to make minus 18. And it does matter which one we make negative. So if I say, let's say this is minus 3, and this is plus 6. Okay, minus 3 plus 6 makes positive 3. So that's correct. But if I had put it the other way around, if I have plus 3 and minus 6, plus 3, so 3, take away 6 gives us minus 3. Okay, so you have to be careful which symbol, the plus or the minus, you put in front of each one. So minus 3 plus 6. Okay, on to the last one. Again, we're going to put our brackets. We're going to put x at the beginning. These brackets aren't very good, are they? they'll do the job, won't they? So two numbers that multiply together to make minus 27, which add together to make minus 6. So we've got, so think of our numbers that make 27. So we've got 3 times 9, 1 times 27. Any others? Okay, so if we look at these two, which ones have a difference of 6? Well, it's not that. That's got a difference of 26. So we know it's going to be the numbers 3 and 9. Okay, we need to make minus 27, and we need to make minus 6. So to make minus 27, we know one of them's positive, one of them's negative. So again, if we have positive 3 here, negative 9, so 3 take away 9, that gives us minus 6. Again, if we had it the other way around, that would give us the wrong answer. Okay, so you need to be careful which symbol you put in front of which. And the last one to look at, we have here, oh, look at these are better brackets. Okay, so we've got x in the beginning of both, and we need two numbers that multiply together to make positive 18, but then add together to make minus 9. So if you think about the numbers that make 18, we've got 9 times 2, 6 times 3, 18 times 1. What else can you think of? Okay, any more? Okay, so now it's not so obvious which one we need to pick. It's probably not going to be this one. And 9 times 2, if we add minuses in here, so no. So when we look at them, if this one's a positive and this one's a negative, what we need to know, is that they're both going to be minuses. Okay? Because to make two minuses multiplied together, they're either both going to be pluses or both going to be negatives. But if this is a minus, then they can't both be pluses because this would be a positive as well. So if this is a minus, this is a plus, then they're both going to be negatives. So then, again, we can put in our numbers, 3 and 6. Okay, check if that works. Minus 3 times minus 6 gives us positive 18. Minus 3, take 6, gives us minus 9. Okay, so there we go, that's correct. Okay, the final step on this is when we have to factorize to solve. Okay, so in the question, it might say factorize to solve. Solve. Okay. To do that, we just do the exact same thing we've just done. So we're going to factorize first. So we need two numbers that are going to make 35 and add to 12. So to make 35, you've got 5 times 7, 1 times 35. I can't think of any others. Okay, so let's see if that works. Okay, obviously getting your times table is really good, so you can know these off the top of your head. It's going to be really useful. Okay, so both pluses, because these are both pluses. So 5 and 7 makes 12, good. Okay, so put 5 and 7 in there. Okay, so what we've done now, we've got plus 5 and plus 7. So we need to make each of these equal 0. So what would you have? A number here for x. So we're trying to find what x equals. And x is going to be two things. It can be two things. Okay, if I put x here, something plus 5, it has to equal 0. Okay, something plus 5 is 0. So the trick to this is always just take whatever answer we've got here, plus 5 and plus 7, and write down the opposite. So instead of plus 5, we're going to have minus 5. And instead of plus 7, we're going to write down minus 7. Okay, so you write down the opposite of what the two answers you've got is. Okay, it's quite complicated, but we'll try and make it a bit easier over the next ones. Okay, so we get our brackets. Okay, x in the front of both. So whenever you see factorized, that's the quickest way to do it. If this is just x squared, you just put x in the front of both. Okay, so we need two numbers that multiply together to make 16, but add together to make, or put together make minus 10. Okay, we saw in the last one that if this is a minus and this is a plus, then these both will be minuses. Okay, because two numbers together, they have to make positive 16, but one of them has to be a minus. So they both have to be minuses. The only way to multiply two together to make positive 16 is by having them both as negatives. So two numbers that make 16. So 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. Any more? I think that'll do us. 1 and 16, 1 times 6, no, that's not going to work. 4, minus 4, take away 4, no, that's minus 8. Minus 2, take away 8, yes, that gives us minus 10. So minus 2 and minus 8. Okay, so we've got our factorizing. Now for our final answer, x can be the opposite of this, plus 2, or it can be the opposite of this, plus 8. Okay, it's the last one. So let's do some really nice brackets here. Well, failed immediately. It's okay. You know, this isn't an art lesson. X here and X here. So we need to make negative 28 and we need to make negative 3. And they both have to make 0. So how do we make 28? So 7 times 4, 28 times 1, 14 times 2. Anyone think of any others? Nope. Okay, so 28 minus 28, and then, so we're going to have a minus and a plus. Okay, we know it's going to be a minus and a plus because they're both negative. Okay, to make a negative, you have to multiply negative. So it's going to be a minus and a plus. So minus 7 plus 4 gives us minus 3. Yep, that works. None of these two hasn't. Minus 14. I put minus 14 in there. Plus 2. Now it's going to be minus 12. So, nope, that's not what we're looking for. Okay, so I'll put in here minus 7 plus 4 gives me minus 3. Remember, if we had it the other way around, if I put minus 4 there and plus 7, that's going to give me positive 3. I need negative 3. So this is my answer. So my final answer, x can be, remember, the opposite of this, plus 7, or it can be the opposite of this, minus 4. Okay, so that is factorizing to solve. And this one is becoming a little bit more common in our exam paper. I think it's been every paper actually for the last few years. So make sure you can factorize, and you can also know the trick, which is to write down whatever you factorize, the opposite as you're solving. Okay, and that's the end of today's recap. So hopefully you've understood everything. If there's anything you're still stuck with, have another look at it. And this is definitely something that you need to, in all of algebra. It always comes up in the exam paper, and it's worth recapping. Obviously, the easier expanding and easier factorizing we've covered in earlier videos, but this is sort of the top level expanding and factorizing. So make sure you are familiar with these, go over them a few times, make sure you're comfortable with, and wait for the 50 questions on this to come out and then have a go at those. Okay, and again, we need to focus again. What are you going to get at the end of the year? Well, we're going to try and improve our grade. How are we going to get there? Really now starting to work hard, put in 100% as much as you can, doing all the sheets that come to you. Make sure you're completing all the classwork you can, and we've got plenty of practice exams for you to have a look at, and try those and bring them back to us to get them marked. So I'll catch you on the next video.